In the spotlight, Singapore's new compulsory health insurance scheme, MediShield Life. It will be implemented at the end of next year, and details of premiums are expected to be released soon. But while health experts say proposed changes to MediShield Life do go far enough to give Singaporeans peace of mind if faced with big hospital bills, premiums will have to increase to support the enhanced benefits and lifelong universal coverage. And this means the government, the private sector and individuals must play their part to ensure healthcare costs remain affordable. Meet Mohandas with this report.
The changes to MediShield Life could see out-of-pocket payments for major hospital bills drop by as much as half.
So let's examine how a patient will benefit from MediShield Life, which builds on the current insurance scheme. Now, the patient has to pay the initial $1,500 of hospital bills accumulated within a year, what is known as the deductible. Now, patients can also claim more now because the maximum amount claimable has been increased. So that orange area is what you have to pay. Now, the maximum amount claimable depends on the number of days you stay in a ward and the type of treatment you receive. Now, next comes the co-insurance. Now, the co-insurance is a percentage of the claim amount that you have to pay. Now, the good news is that the co-insurance has been lowered from the current 10 to 20% to 3 to 10%. Now, after all this, will your MediShield Life payout come in to pay the rest of your bill? So with your claim limits increased and your co-insurance lowered, your MediShield Life payout is more, and what this means is lesser out-of-pocket expenses for you.
With the new scheme, cancer, stroke and heart attack patients will be among those who will see their hospital bills shrink.
In chemotherapy, the recommendation seems to be about 140% increase in coverage, which is very good. That means there's a huge savings for patients, because currently MediShield's maximum claim is $1,200 per month. With this increase, it's $3,000 per month. So patients tend to spend less cash for their chemotherapy treatment. Radiotherapy, there's an increase of 75% of coverage by MediShield Life. Again, that shows that patients tend to use less MediSave and less cash in combined.
Another group of patients who usually rake up high medical bills are those on dialysis. For example, 56-year-old Anthony Murthy has been on dialysis for the past 7 years. He left his job as a security guard 10 years ago due to his ailing health. A widower, he has 2 sons in school. And with no income, he gets by on just $440 a month, of which $200 comes from the Community Development Council and the rest from his church. But this is hardly enough to cover his medical expenses that come up to about $2,800 a month. On top of that, Anthony had opted out of MediShield and has no funds to pay for his dialysis. Fortunately, he receives assistance from MediFund, a national endowment fund set up to help needy Singaporeans. But now MediShield Life will cover even the uninsured like Anthony, and this will provide him an additional safety net.
I feel very, happy, and I have a peace of mind, that the government is, helping me with this dialysis payment, everything. So I'm much more happier, and I don't have a burden to, or my children.
But better coverage for all comes at a cost. To pay for the enhanced benefits, Singaporeans have to pay more for premiums. And to cushion this impact, the government will be giving out a suite of subsidies. The middle and lower income, as well as the pioneer generation, can look forward to the premium subsidies. Transitional subsidies will also be given out over 4 years to help ease the shift to MediShield Life. These subsidies will be tiered. MediSave top-ups will also be given to the pioneer generation for life. And for those aged 55 to 64, MediSave top-ups for 5 years.
But whether healthcare costs remain affordable for Singaporeans will not only depend on MediShield Life. Experts say that with more demand for healthcare services, the pressure will be on costs. So the responsibility lies with key stakeholders, and that begins with individuals taking greater ownership of their health and well-being to reduce the overconsumption of healthcare services. Employers will also be playing their part with a 1 percentage point increase to MediSave contributions, which will be enough to offset premium increases for most middle and higher income families.
While experts welcome the changes made to the national insurance scheme, they pointed to other healthcare financing issues that need to be tackled.
I think the MediShield Life's proposal is a very good starting point right now. I think in future, as we review the progress and to gauge the better needs of patients, I think increasing the quantum of coverage is one, definitely, because of rising healthcare costs. The other component will be maybe more help in the form of MediShield for diagnostic tests in terms of X-ray, CT scan, PET scan, MRIs.
But these further enhancements will mean additional costs. One expert said it helps that Singapore's healthcare system is based on a shared responsibility.
The government is actually one of the largest providers of healthcare, so there are efficiencies of scale there they can realize. The second issue is that by having some degree of co-payments, I think the policy makers ensure that the incentive to misuse the healthcare system is reduced. Of course, the downside is that with co-payments, the cost burden is shifted more to individual people, and there are going to be some people out there who may face some difficulty in being able to afford medical treatment. But as long as we have targeted policies that try to help out those people who don't have enough savings, then I think that is a good balance that we're trying to aim for here.
But the chairman of the Government Parliamentary Committee for Health stressed that while trying to strike this balance, healthcare institutions must never compromise on quality.
It's very important that we maintain quality here. And so that would be a challenge. We have manpower constraints in the healthcare industry, as we do in almost every industry. And then with and having such a affordable and accessible healthcare system, and also an aging population, the demand will go up. Patients' expectations will go up, and so the pressures on healthcare personnel and the whole healthcare environment will also go up. So there is also a challenge for us to try and attract the best people into this sector, and also to retain people.
For now, the specifics of the premium increases will be keenly anticipated. The MediShield Life Review Committee has assured Singaporeans that the premiums for most households will remain within MediSave contributions with no additional cash outlay needed.